Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to order his transfer from the Sokoto Correctional Facility, where he was moved after receiving a life sentence on terrorism charges. He argued that being held over 700 kilometers from Abuja makes it difficult to prepare his appeal, since he needs a personal access to the court registry and because his relatives and legal advisors are all based in Abuja.
Very true. Kanu requested to be moved to a custodial center within Abuja's jurisdiction, or alternatively to the Suleja or Keffi facilities to enable him to effectively pursue his appeal. But when the case was called, Justice James Omotosho refused to hear the motion because Kanu's brother, Emmanuel, who brought it forward, is not a lawyer and therefore cannot represent him in court.
While that is said, the judge advised Kanu to engage a legal practitioner or seek help from the Legal Aid Council. He also cautioned against misleading statements about the appeal process, explaining that a convict does not need to be physically present to compile court records. The matter was adjourned to December the 8th, 2025. So let's get talking. We still have Barrister Evans Ofeli, who joins us from Toronto in Canada. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Very well.
Yes. So, Barrister, this is more like a transition from the last time we talked about this. Of course, when it went viral, a lot of people had their say. A lot of comments, about over 600 comments on what you had to say. So let's maybe start from there, then we now crisscross to now. Now, given all the comments that you saw, what's your take on all of them, especially coming from colleagues like you and people, of course, who might not understand better? So speak to us while we transition into the latest gist for today.
Well, I saw a lot of comments. Some persons who were abusing, some persons who understood what the analysis was, what I was saying. So many persons, even some of my classmates at the university were at the comment section, okay, to let them know we've known this person for a very long time, the rest of that. And it was quality analysis, one that came from a place of law. I didn't see anybody who used law to contradict what I said. People were just talking based on sentiment. And largely so, many of them are not lawyers, okay? So they will not be able to see from the prison from which I see what I was saying and the rest of that. So a lot of comments came from different places. So many people eulogizing, some talking left, right, and center and the rest of that. But the truth is that it's about the principle of law. It's not about anybody's opinion. Law is not about opinion. It's about procedures. It's about what is laid down and principles and precedents over time. Okay, that is what we follow. Okay, right. So the Nnamdi Kanu's case has since moved from that point to where it is today, because now he is. He has been convicted, as it were, sentenced, okay, to life imprisonment, and then he's at the prison, been transferred to Sokoto as we speak.
All right. Of course, just before we get to that matter, on the comment section, still on what you had analyzed, some people said that they wish you would join the team of Nnamdi Kanu to help him, get out of that trouble he has found himself. And equally called the lawyers he had as social media lawyers. And we're speaking about Jumofo and the other man there. Do you think this caliber of individuals are truly social media lawyers? Or is it that they, what do you think is the take on what people had to say about that?
There's nothing like social media lawyer. You are either a lawyer or not. I mean, when you say social media, what do they mean by that? You are either a lawyer or not. And if you have been briefed to, take on a case, your responsibility is to go research and present your case, okay? Those who call, a lot of people call lawyers, social media lawyers, some say charge and bail lawyer, they keep doing all that because the Nigerian state, the people themselves have some kind of problems, okay? Sometimes they just feel that the lawyers are not doing well. That's why the case went the way it went and the rest. I read comments, even lawyers used to do that. You understand? The lawyers, Aloy and Maxwell, okay, they may not be SCN, okay, they may not be, but to say that they do not know the law is false. They know exactly what they're doing and they did their best. You understand? The lawyer that represented before, they did their part. And it's wrong actually to come out to say that they are social media lawyers or they are using it to boost their social media page or the rest of that. That's very, very unfair to persons who had worked day and night, put this case together, got it to the point where they got it to and the rest of that, advised adequately and all that. At the point when Nnamdi Kanu says defending himself, I mean, you couldn't have said that they are social media lawyer. I don't buy that kind of expression. They are lawyers that are called to the bar. They are competent. They did their best, and if the client feel that what they are doing is not enough and took over the case, then so be it.
Okay.
Does not in any way diminish them. I mean, these are very passionate lawyers who have to even join a protest in a case that they are involved in. I mean, and you call them that. I don't think Nigerians are fair to lawyers. I don't think so.
Okay, but then again, right? Do you think Kanu is Kanu legally entitled to request a transfer closer to Abuja for the purpose of preparing his appeal?
You can approach the court for any. You see, once you are aggrieved, okay, and you want the court to do something for you, you file a motion, you file an application before the court, and come to court. But you have to. The motion cannot be moved by a non-lawyer. That's the truth. The motion cannot be moved by a non-lawyer. You must have a lawyer to move the motion. Like James Omotosho told the brother, he said, "You cannot move the motion because you are not a lawyer." And even if we say we want to, it will take you the next 6 years, so you won't become a lawyer, and whatever anything you want to do. So I think Nnamdi Kanu, his family members and loved ones should desist from this idea of we are going to do the case ourselves. We're going to do the case ourselves. I'm very, very intelligent. Therefore, I cannot defend myself. Stop that. Law is not about intelligence. It's about procedures that you can never know if you're not a lawyer. Stop it. Let a lawyer make that application before the court. It's a lawyer that is trained for that purpose. And let him undertake it. The result will actually come out different if a lawyer is doing the case. That's his job. This thing about I can argue. Because see, the law will tell you that you can defend yourself, but what the law will not tell you is that you will get stuck when you are doing that. And the result will be very, very devastating. So let the lawyer move that motion. You see, had it been, there was a lawyer that presented that motion before the court, that motion would have been moved on that day. And the court would have adjourned for room. And still what they can do to help him move closer to the appeal that he wants to do. 700 kilometers away. It's quite, everybody know that. And the court also went as far as saying that the Nnamdi Kanu itself is not required in court to compile appeal. It's not. You understand? What I see there is that the family don't like the idea of keeping him in Sokoto because Sokoto is too far for visitation, to take food to him, medications and all that. It's too far. They will incur a lot of expenses doing that, and coupled with the insecurity challenge in Nigeria, Those are the issues that are tenable. Those are the tenable issues there. Because his presence is not actually needed in court to prepare for his appeal, to compile records or to do whatever it is. Okay, so that application is timeless. I urge the court to hear it in its favor, even though we cannot preempt the court. But I urge the court to do something about that because of the distance, if not for anything, for the distance, and in the interest of justice, to bring him closer home to where his loved ones can reach out to him, take food to him, take medication to him, console him, okay, and put him in the right frame of mind for the appeal that is coming forward. That is what I think. But the family has to go about it the right way. They should go about it the right way. Allow the lawyers to work on this case. Don't call them consultants. Let them work on the case and get this issue done once and for all.
All right. So in the interest of justice and with your experience, do you think you see any light at the end of the tunnel? I do not know what is in the minds of George Omotosho at this point, but it is looking to me like all he is asking for possibly is for Nnamdi Kanu to have some form of remorse, and maybe he might start acting on it. But what's your take with your experience, especially knowing that you said law is not intelligence but following the procedure?
Yes, now there's when you are going on appeal, you will bring your motion to the same court that delivered the judgment. Okay? So with those appeals, with those issues filed, they added this particular one. They added this particular one so for him to be taken to a better place. Okay? The time for remorse and all that Nnamdi Kanu ought to have shown in court for whatever accusation they accuse him of, and that one has passed.
It has expired.
It has passed. It has passed. It's been convicted already. Wow. Okay, that one. You see, when there's during criminal trial, the judge is not just looking at the case; he's also looking at the countenance of the defendant. The countenance of the defendant cannot exonerate him, but the countenance of the defendant, if he's remorseful, can mitigate the penalty, can mitigate the sentence, can reduce the harshness of whatever it is that would have made. So it's at that point of trial that this issue of being remorseful, and the rest of that would have played a role. When judgment has been delivered, it's been delivered, okay, and that is it. So whether there will be light at the end of the tunnel, I believe that the motion will be heard and be heard positive, and I believe that he will be taken to somewhere closer to his point of appeal, and that is what it should be. There's no point persecuting him after conviction. There's no point. There's no point. It's pointless to persecute a man after you have convicted him.
So sorry for interjecting. When you say persecution, is sending to Sokoto what you are talking about? Could that be regarded as a persecution?
Yeah, because if you look at the condition, Sokoto, the relatives have to assess him in prison. Okay? You cannot eat the food in Nigerian prison. Don't just go there. You can't. The only people who eat it are people who have no one to bring food for them and all that. So the family will need to be close to so that they can take things to him. Medications and all that. And when you say so they have to take flights anytime they want to see him, and it's not convenient. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And a convict still have a right under the law to ask that the facility where it's kept is not close to his relatives. It's not close to his people. it's not convenient to even go on his, continue his appeal and the rest of that. You have a right to do so. You have a right. Whether the right to be respected or not is a different thing entirely. Because you cannot force it. You can only make an application and give reasons why you are doing that. And if the reasons are compelling enough and they are logical and the court believes in it, the court will act on it. That is it. So what I'm saying in effect is, where he is now, it's really difficult for him to access certain facility and help to project, even with his case and his well-being. So that application is like, you know, set forth to address that issue, that his location be changed, because the judge already said he should not be taken to Kuje prison. So we have Suleja prison, and we have another one. I think Suleja, is it Keffi also?
Yeah, Keffi.
Yeah, Keffi.
Yes. So in the application, they have suggested that Suleja or Keffi, because the judge specifically says he should not go to Kuje. So Suleja, Keffi, those are close places, you know, where, you know, you can have this, so that because his people are in Abuja, both lawyers, families, and all that, then they can access it easily.
But I'm curious, really. I'm actually curious. Do you think all of this would have mattered if Nnamdi Kanu was prosecuted maybe in Kenya or any other country outside of Nigeria? Would the family be saying all of this? Would they be bringing this to the table if he was prosecuted like Henry Oka in South Africa, where he's serving his term now?
He was not prosecuted in South Africa, in Kenya. Since he's prosecuted here, and ever since he has been in detention, the lawyers have visited, families have visited, and the rest of that. They still want to continue to do that. If they had prosecuted him in Kenya, all this would not have been brought to the table. I understand. I know what you are saying. You understand? I know what you are saying. If there were no appeal, also, I do not think the lawyers will be making such demands and be making such all that. Okay, but there's an appeal. They need to reach him, family members to reach him, and the rest of that. So it's important they make that demand. Whether the court, you know, will grant it or not, it's a different thing entirely.
All right.
Okay.
You just have to try.
Okay, thank you. So does Kanu's transfer to Sokoto appear administrative or just politically motivated? Do you think it's politically motivated?
Well, I don't know what inspired the transfer.
Okay.
But the court can do something about it. Because once the court has delivered judgment and hand over to the prison warders, they take it up from there. Yeah, okay. You understand? But the court can make an order. The court can make an order to the correctional center to do X, Y, Z. You understand?
Yeah.
Even the correctional center themselves can take decisions administratively. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, you see that the case, you see that the correctional facility, they are a defendant now in the application. So, and this is the argument. The correctional facility, we don't know whether they are filing any counter affidavit to say that no, don't take him anywhere. This way we want him. Sometimes they may file, sometimes they will not even file anything. They will just ask the court to take a decision on the matter. I mean, the correctional center file counter affidavit. What reason do they have really to file counter affidavit? If they want to, they can, but it is not necessary. He has been convicted. Just give him some some channel to enhance his well-being. That's what they're asking for.
All right.
Okay.
But
Okay.
they should do the right thing.
All right.
The right thing.
So just before we end for today, for the want of time, I would love us to finally look at this particular issue, because everything is rested on the table of the president, either granting him clemency or not. But of course, we've seen Alex Oti do a visit to Nnamdi Kanu. He's been criticized, however, for doing that, because lots of people have said, why should an elected governor visit someone that has been, incarcerated on the term of terrorism? And also, Masob had decried Igbo politicians' silence on Kanu's ordeal. So do you think that the Igbo community, the Igbo demographics, especially the politicians and some elites, I'm talking about money bags, do you think they are indifferent about the incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu? Do you think they feel this is good for the economy of the southeast of Nigeria, knowing that what he had said had contributed to the failure of businesses in the southeast of Nigeria, had led to people dying unnecessarily, and so on? What's your take on the Igbo man's indifference to a large extent to Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration?
The Igbos are divided on this issue. There are many of them who are aggrieved, who lost loved ones based on Nnamdi Kanu's activities. And so those ones are largely indifferent about his incarceration, whether they take him to Sokoto, take him to Abuja. They are not interested. They are not interested because, according to them, his activity led to so many crises. The businessmen who had lost one or two things, who trace it to his activities, also, those ones are very different. But there are some who are of the view that Nnamdi Kanu has not committed any offense that warrants such conviction. And there are many of them. And they should not, no one should, put him under the said condition he is. Okay? So many of them weren't happy on the day of that conviction. Some journalists went out to take voice pop and the rest of that, and people were silent, people were sad. A lot of people. But there's also a group that came out to talk about justice for those who lost their life as a result of the activities of the IPOB. Okay? And that is not all of them that ascribe to the Nnamdi Kanu's pursuit. And they should be allowed to be their own person and the rest of that. So we've seen that people on both sides, when people call for justice for Nnamdi Kanu, some persons also are calling for justice for those who may have been affected as a result of the activities of IPOB and the sit-at-home order. The resultant effect, the economic effect, the social and political effect of sin. So you always find people in two divides or three divides on issues like this. And it's not then to be vilified. Each divide or all divides should not be vilified. People are talking from their own experiences, and that should be respected. We can respect that, we can live with that. But ultimately, there should be a common ground. There should be a common ground where the issues are looked at objectively. And looking at it objectively would mean to see that no matter what it is, everyone must at some point come to that alignment where they have to stand for what is just and right for the Igbos.
All right. Thank you so very much, Barrister. This is looking more like the Ken Saro-Wiwa ordeal when he was killed. The families of the chiefs that were killed as a result of what they felt Ken Saro-Wiwa, made known, were equally very angry. When Ken Saro-Wiwa was granted the opportunity by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was on all that. The people who lost their fathers, the chiefs, were equally not happy. But I think that they are finding a common ground now. Both the Ken Saro-Wiwas and the chiefs sons and daughters are coming together now to make peace for themselves. So I'd love to believe that might equally happen in the Southeast.
Yeah.
People have lost loved ones. People have lost businesses. There's a viral video actually of young children in primary school that went to school on a sit at home. And those IPOB boys came to the school and started flogging them. In fact, with the principal, the teacher, they all lay down on the ground and they were flogging them like it was brutish, society. It wasn't looking very, very good. And those children, the trauma, they will not forget it for a very long time.
They would
and
never.
Some of them will trace it to Nnamdi Kanu.
Exactly.
Because
so it would be like a
Nnamdi
stigma.
Kanu,
And
people who have missed exams, WAEC, that was supposed to hold on a sit-at-home day. Lots of them lost that opportunity, English, maths, and so many others. So
there's so different issues
there.
Anyway.
All right, but that's just about the time we have. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for joining us and clarifying what we have.
My pleasure.
All right, beautiful. So that's just about the time, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to believe you enjoyed our show just like we did right here in our studios. But please do well to visit us. You can catch up when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like and rewatch this, if you may, when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. Yeah. I am Henry Igwibiki.
And I am Kende Bodrin.
Have yourself a splendid beginning of the weekend, and God bless you.
God bless Nigeria. Bye for now.